Let's talk about something you felt but never really acknowledged. The silence. You haven't been summoned for a meeting, no ominous emails from the higher-ups. Your boss still greets you with a smile in the hallway. But have you noticed? Something is already different. The air feels thicker. The invisible fence you didn't see coming is quietly tightening around you. How long until it pulls you in? That's the question you need to answer. You hesitate before sharing that half-formed idea in the chat. You run a mental audit on your report, not for clarity, but for potential misinterpretation. You steer clear of topics that were fair game just a few months ago. This isn't a talk about reclaiming some lost courage. It's about understanding the architecture of the cage you've quietly agreed to live in. And the most ingenious cages have no visible bars. They operate on a simple, brutal principle. Make the cost of stepping out so certain, so ingrained, that the door could be wide open and you'd still never dream of leaving. First, let's locate you. You're not paranoid, you're positioned. One of these is already your reality, whether you've admitted it or not. Maybe your every digital move, email timing, message tone, even calendar gaps is being fed into a quiet little algorithm that's building a risk profile on you. Or your value has been neatly packaged as reliability, which is just a polite way of saying you're a predictable, low-maintenance asset. And assets are meant to be managed, not set free. Or you've simply internalized the map, down to your bones where the unmarked minefields are because you've watched others stumble into them before. This isn't about your mindset being weak. This is about being positioned within a system that's meticulously designed, an invisible machine powered by ambition and fear. You can feel the gears grinding, can't you? The system isn't just working on its own, it's working on you. Now, how does it work? How do they get you to police yourself so efficiently? It's not about a manager glaring over your shoulder. It's far more elegant than that. It's about building a world where the consequences feel automatic, impersonal, and utterly inevitable. Part 1. The panopticon is digital now. Think about visibility in a modern corporation. It's not about being seen doing great work. It's about every single action leaving a permanent, analyzable data trace. In places like a Wall Street bank or a Silicon Valley giant, they're not just reading your emails, they're analyzing the patterns. Do you send risky messages late at night? Does your communication style shift with certain clients? How quickly do you respond to directives? The goal isn't to catch you in a moment of rebellion. The goal is to make you know that any deviation from your established pattern raises a tiny, silent flag in some server room. You don't get a command to stop being creative. You just slowly learn that unexplainable behavior, even if it's beneficial, is itself a risk category. So you stop, not because you were told to, but because you've learned the algorithm's preferences. Part 2, the golden handcuffs are made of your own success. Here's the beautiful irony. The system binds you tightest not through punishment, but through reward. That promotion, that juicy stock package, that high potential fast track. Congratulations, you've just been plugged into a more sensitive circuit. I knew people in these programs, they got amazing autonomy. To do what exactly? To pursue projects that perfectly aligned with the CEO's latest strategic pillar. Their vaunted freedom came with a built-in, non-negotiable compass. Stray from the approved direction and the system's logic would gently, inexorably nudge you back or begin the quiet process of reclassifying you from high potential to misaligned. The rewards weren't just payment, they were a down payment on your future compliance. Part 3. The sword of Damocles is on a randomized timer. This is the masterstroke. They don't enforce every rule every day. That would cause revolt. Instead, they create the spectacle of enforcement. I saw this in an old European firm. For years, minor rule bending was winked at. Then, out of the blue, they'd descend on one random department with a forensic years-deep audit. The message wasn't, you broke a rule. The message was, we can and we will do this to anyone at any time for any reason we choose. The real fear? It's not about knowing exactly what will happen. It's about knowing that anything could happen at any moment. It's the fear of the unknown consequences, the unpredictability of the system. The audit could come tomorrow or in 5 years. But when it does, you'll wish you were ready. This isn't paranoia, it's calculated caution, and it's why you stay in line. But what happens when you don't? That's what you need to understand. Keep watching. Now, let's make a crucial shift. You have to start seeing this not as a personal attack, but as a tactical move by the system. The system doesn't care about breaking you, the human. It's after something else. It wants to neutralize your potential risk, the one tied directly to your employee ID. But there's more. The system doesn't just want to eliminate risk. It wants to keep you trapped in a constant state of calculated compliance. How do they do it? Keep watching. Your creativity, your spontaneity, these aren't personal flaws to the system, they're operational liabilities. Don't take it personally, see it mechanically. It's the first step to keeping your mind intact. So, what can you actually do while inside this machine? Not much, but a few things to stop the bleed. 1. Stop explaining yourself. Seriously, stop sending those preemptive just to clarify emails. Stop over-documenting your harmless choices. Every time you try to prove you're not a risk, you're just giving the system more data on how to make you afraid. Silence is a wall. Use it. 2. Don't volunteer for your own reprogramming. When they call a lessons learned meeting after a failure, be careful. Often these aren't about solving problems. They're rituals where you're forced to describe your actions in the system's own sterile, risk-averse language. You start policing your own thoughts in their vocabulary. Opt out where you can. Protect your internal narrative. 3. Don't let them pin a permanent label on you. So you got scared and passed on a risky project. Fine. Don't let that become your thing. Next time, in a different context, make a different safe choice. Be inconsistently cautious. It makes you slightly harder to predict, slightly harder to manage. It's a tiny pocket of air. Let's be clear about what won't save you. The fantasy of the heroic work that will earn you immunity? Nonsense. Big wins make you more visible, more valuable, and therefore more controlled. The fantasy of a powerful mentor shielding you, that patronage is a liability in a system designed to root out personal fiefdoms. The fantasy that the system will see the light and change? My friend, this is the system working as intended. Your fear isn't a bug, it's a feature. So you're left with a few bleak but clear options. You can fully merge with the system's logic, become a perfect, soulless terminal of its will. It's comfortable, in a hollow way. You can play tiny, useless games at the edges, clinging to the feeling of having some choice, or you can try to find a darker, quieter corner of the organization where the spotlight rarely shines, with that trading ambition for peace. But the worst choice, the most exhausting one, is to pretend this isn't happening, to let that low-grade, nameless fear hum in your background every single day, slowly draining your will to decide anything at all. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to see the walls of the room you're in clearly and without panic. Because once you see how this works, how they use certainty to breed fear, you'll start to notice the next, more subtle trick. The truly advanced systems, the really mature ones, they don't just rely on clear, scary rules. They take those rules away. They realize that after they've taught you to fear the fence, the real control comes from removing the fence altogether and convincing you to stay in the pasture anyway. Which brings us to the next, perfectly logical question. Why ambiguous rules are actually more effective. But that is a story for next time.